we're going to add a new layer to our postcard. So to do this, you're going to, well, first, before we add it, I want to point something out. Whatever layer you have selected, so for example, if I have my beach layer selected and I click this little plus sign down here, that's how you create a new layer. If you hover your mouse on it, it'll tell you create a new layer. So if I click on it, it creates that new layer above whatever layer I had previously selected. So for this, I'm going to delete that. I want to select my background layer and I want to make a new layer so that it's placed right above. And then now we're going to name it. So in your previous projects, we were usually only working with one, maybe two layers, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But now that you have multiple layers that you're working on, it's a good habit to name all of your layers because it'll make everything a lot easier whenever you're looking for a specific thing. So always name your layers. So to do that, just double click on layer 1 and we're going to title it Clouds. Click return on your keyboard. And now that we named it, we're going to go to our tools panel right here, this left, and we're gonna click on the color. So you have two colors here. We can use this arrow and we can swap them and we can swap them back. Whatever color is on the top, that's the current color that you're working with. So set foreground color, we're gonna click on that, the top one. And our textbook wants us to select a specific blue and they give us the values of this blue. So we have the RGB values, which RGB would be red, green, and blue. So we're gonna look for, here's the RGB. We're gonna set them. So R, red is gonna be 48. G for green is going to be 138. And B for blue is going to be 174. And that's the specific shade of blue that our book wants us to use. So we're gonna click OK. Another cool thing is if you ever go online and start looking at color swatch websites, or if there's like a specific picture you like, there's all these apps that will give you the specific color or hex code for that color. If you ever get something called a hex code, this is where you enter it. It's pretty cool. We might get into more of that later on. So now that we have our background color selected, if you notice the background here, or the color, there's nothing in there. If you look at the little thumbnail, it's a checkerboard thumbnail because there's nothing in it yet. So we're going to fill that with the blue. So let's see. Or actually, we need to switch this brown right here. This needs to be white. Okay, and we're gonna switch it back. Okay, we're not gonna fill it with the way I was thinking. I'm reading the steps and we have to render clouds. So remember I said you have two different colors here. One of them's that blue that was recommended by the book. The other one, just set it to white, very top corner. And we want the blue on top for this. So have those two colors ready. And then up at the top, we're going to go to filter. And again, make sure your clouds layer is selected for this because you don't want to accidentally put this on the wrong layer. So filter, and then render, which is down here, and clouds. And we got some realistic clouds in the back. So what this did is it's creating the clouds based on those colors. So let me undo. So Command Z to undo. So what happens if I do pink clouds? Filter, render, clouds. That's what happens. So that's what the colors were for. So I'm going to undo again. Oh, never mind. Let's redo. I went too far. Redo, because I want to name change. And then I want to go back to that blue. Now I have to type everything in again. 48, 138, 174. Okay, there. So filter, render clouds. And there you go. It's pretty easy. Command S to save because we made some changes. Then we're going to drag to add a new layer. So we can add a new layer to an image by dragging an image file from Bridge, which we're not really using right now, or from another Finder window on your Mac. So similar to when I opened that beach photo on a window and I clicked and dragged it, you can pretty much do that with a lot of other images. Or you can copy an image from the internet and paste it onto here for the most part. For this one, we have to select the pineapple copy layer so that way we make it active. And the book wants us to add another flower on here. We have a flower which is here. So let's see. Oh, okay. There's another flower that we need to do. So file, open, or let's do this. Let me go to my Finder window and open where I have my flower 2, which is this one. Let's see if this works. So I have my pineapple copy selected. Click and drag. See that little plus sign? Ta-da! There you go. I was a little confused as to what the book was trying to tell me to do, but this is basically to show you there's more than one way to import an image onto your Photoshop file. The other way that I like to do it, so I'm going to click at return on my keyboard to keep it on there. You can also go to File and then Place Embedded. So let's get rid of this flower right here. So I'm going to click and drag it to the trash. So what I did is this flower 2, which you should also have downloaded. You can click and drag it and it'll place it there, or if you go to File, Place Embedded, if you do Place Linked, it still places the photo or the image, but it creates a link between it. So it's not actually saved or embedded in the Photoshop document. It's a link. So if you change that link or if you move that file to a different folder, it's going to become unlinked and you need to go find it to relink it. So usually what I like to do is I like to do Place Embedded. So if you click on that, and then I can go look for my it's under here, my flower. Here it is, flower. No, a lot of folders. You probably have less than I do. So here's my flower, and then place. Does the same exact thing. I just wanted to show you that there's also that other alternative. So now that we have our flowers here, we're going to position it in the lower left corner. So if you notice, if I put it, there's like a line, so we want to lower left corner right there. Click return, and there it's at. And then once you do that, we're going to save, Command S. And now we're going to add text. So to do the text, we're going to scroll up, make the Hawaii layer visible. So click on the eyeball. And we're going to add text just below our Hawaii layer. So to do that, we're going to choose, let me see, where's our select? There it is, select. So select, and so we're deselecting our layers. So select, deselect layers, and what that does is it makes it so that no layer is selected. And in our tools panel, we're going to go to the type tool, which is right here. Click on it. If you right click, you can see there's different directions, different options. We want to stick to the first one, horizontal type tool, so that one. And then we're going to choose characters. So if you remember from the previous video, you can open up up here where it says window. If you click on character, it'll pop open your little character options so that you can change your font, your size, and all those different things. So we're going to select a serif font. So serif is basically, it has these little lines at the top or the edges. It's kind of hard to really explain without you seeing it, but let's see if we can find one. Let's see if it has, nope, we don't have the font that they used. So let's see if I can find one that I know most computers will have. So serif font, I think I'm gonna type in Times New Roman or Times Regular. So serif is, or I'll just point it out once I type. So we're going to select that, okay, and then put it up regular. And then the book says our font size has to be 36 points. Here's our points. We gotta set it to 36. There you go. Select a larger tracking value. So our tracking value is right here. If I hover over it, it tells you tracking. They used 250. That's a lot. So 250. And let's see, what else does the book tell us? Click the color swatch, select a shade of grassy green. Okay, so color. They want us to pick a grassy green. Somewhere there. Click OK. Click the faux bold button. Oh, okay, so the faux bold button is one of these, I think. This is, oh, it's this one. Yes, click on that. And then click the all caps button. I've actually used this one quite a lot because it saves a lot of time. If you're ever typing something in and it's like kind of long and you realize, oh, I should have done, so I'll show you really quick. So I'm gonna type in sample text, just so you can see. This is a really cool trick that I love Photoshop for. If I click on capital, it makes them all capitalized and you don't have to retype anything. You just have to make sure you have everything highlighted, or you can double click on the little T right here and it'll highlight it for you. So all caps. Select crisp from the anti-aliasing menu. So crisp from the anti, oh, that's this one right here. So it's at sharp. They want us to set it to crisp. And then we're going to click just below Hawaii. So let me get rid of this. So I wasn't supposed to have that. And then select, deselect layers. All right, I'm back to the type tool. They want us to click just below the H in the word Hawaii and type Island Paradise. So click right here, type in Island Paradise. And you'll notice that it went way off over here, which we might need to fix a few parameters. Okay, so I'm gonna highlight, oh, and then once I click on that layer, you'll notice that it renames itself to whatever text I put on there. You can still rename it and it won't change the text, which is nice, but I'll leave it at that because it's not a long name anyway. I'm gonna double click the T, and I did follow the point value and the tracking that they gave me. So just so you know, the tracking that they said to set to 250, that's the spacing in between your your letters. So the default is 0. That's the normal tracking right there. The higher the tracking, so if I click and drag, that means the bigger the space in between the letters. If I go negative, it means it's kind of condensed, which looks bad. It's hard to read. They wanted us to set it to 250, which I think is a lot. But I also think it's because of the type of font they selected. We don't have the font. It was Birch S something, but I use something with a serif is basically, see, this is actually more obvious. Those little lines at the end of a letter, those are serifs. So they want us to select a font that has a serif. So I chose the most common one I can think of, and that's the Times Regular. But because of the font, we're gonna have to resize our font so that it fits. So let me center this, double click, or what I'm gonna do is up here I can also, oh, I should have pointed that out too. I was using this to adjust my settings for this right here, which I forgot what it was called, anti-aliasing method, and it's also up here. You can also adjust your points here, your font, your color. Right now the alignment's set to the left. I'm gonna center it, and then I'm gonna switch to my move tool and move it to the center. And notice that I get these magenta lines. That helps me center things perfectly. It's pretty cool. So now that it's centered, I'm going to adjust the size. So this might be different for some of you depending on the font that you select. And this right here, this is like the height of the vertical scale, I guess, of your text. So I'm trying to expand it. I'm trying to make it look like how it does on the textbook, which is kind of like that. There you go. So if you would like to use the same font that I used, you can copy my settings. So I set it at 21. Kerning, or tracking, I mean, is still at 250. The height or vertical scale is at 147. The green, just pick a green that looks kind of like mine. This is still set to crisp, and have the faux bold and the all caps selected, and you should be good to go as far as the text goes.